Let's get right into it. I'm using Karen's Simply Soft Weight 4 acrylic yarn and a 4.5 millimeter hook, my favorite hook. We're going to start by chaining 11. Starting in the 10th chain, we're going to do 10 loop stitches. If you guys want a more detailed video on how to do the loop stitch, I have a separate mini video on my TikTok if you guys want to check it out on coollikewinter_. I recommend practicing the stitch a few times just to get comfortable with it before starting this, just so that your loops become more uniformed and they're not all different sizes, and you can obtain that by just getting in a groove of doing the loop stitch. So just do it a few times until you get comfortable, and then do this tutorial so that all your loops sit very evenly and they're not like messy looking or uneven. Now we're gonna chain 1, turn our work into the first stitch. You're going to do a regular half double crochet all the way to the end, and you should still have 10 stitches. And when you get to the end, chain 1, turn our work again. Now we're going to do 10 more loop stitches all the way to the end. You should still have 10 stitches. This is what it'll look like. Chain 1, turn our work, and now this will be our last row of 10 half double crochets all the way to the end, and we should still have 10 stitches. Chain 1, turn our work, and now after the 4 rows we just did, we're going to start our increase. So we're going to put 2 loop stitches in this first chain. This is 2. And then we're going to go right back to just doing 1 loop stitch in each until we get to the last stitch. And then we'll put another increase loop stitch in the last one. Now we're going to do 2 loop stitches in this last stitch as our increase. Like that. That's our first increase. Now we're going to chain 1, turn our work, And this is what we're going to continue to do for 13 rows. We're going to increase in every first and last stitch. So this is going to be the row of regular half double crochets. So we're going to do 2 half double crochets in the first and last stitch. Just like that. So it's starting to get wider. Chain 1, turn our work, and increase in this first one with our loop stitches now. And then we'll also increase loop stitch in the last stitch. I'll meet you back when we're done. This is what it will look like after you do 13 stitches, and you can count. So we started with 4 rows. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That was our 10 stitches, and then we started increasing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Chain 4. Flip our work. And into the third chain. 1, 2, 3, this one. We're going to do a single crochet. And then 1 more single crochet. So you'll have 2 single crochets. And then we'll go right back to doing half double crochets all the way till we get to that last stitch, and I'll meet you there. We're at the last few stitches to the end. Now, in this last stitch, we're going to attach a piece of yarn. You can do this with a new row or the inside of the yarn that you're using now. It really doesn't matter. You only need a little bit. We're going to attach that to the last stitch. We're going to extend our bikini bottom. So we're going to attach that with a single crochet. Tighten it down. Struggling. And now we're going to chain 4 again, because we need those last 2 single crochets. And the other 2 in the 4 chains is just to tighten down when you cut the yarn, so it makes a knot. You're going to pull that through. Tighten that just a little bit. You can leave it until you do your 2 single crochets if that makes it easier for you, but it really doesn't make a difference. So go ahead, pop your hook back in, and in that last chain that we saved, you're going to do your last half double crochet because we had one more to do. So we're going to do that last one, and then we're going to do 2 single crochets to end the row. 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets. Get in there. 1. There we go. Okay. Single crochet. There you go. And then we're going to do this one more time for a size small. And then if you want a medium, you're going to do it 3 times. So I'm going to do it one more time for a small. And then if you want bigger, you'll continue to do it, and etc. So 2 times for a small, 3 times for medium, 4 times for large. So this is me doing it again. I did my 4 chains and turn my work, 2 single crochets, and then we're going to go right back to loop stitches all the way till we get to the last stitch. All right, we got to the last stitch, and now we're going to attach our yarn to the side again to extend it. So we're going to pop our hook in. We're going to attach a separate piece of yarn with a single crochet and then chain 4. We're going to cut that, pull our string through, tighten it down till you only have 2 chains left. Pop our hook back in. We're going to do our last loop stitch, and then we're going to complete this row with 2 single crochets. If you need a medium, do another row. If not, you'll cut right here, tie off, and this completes the top portion of the bikini. And now we'll start with the bottom. I went ahead and weaved in all of my ends, so this is how it looks completed on both sides. Now we're going to attach our yarn to, it would be the crotch area where we chain 10. We're going to attach our yarn there and make sure that the loop stitches are facing you, because we're going to pop our hook in, attach the yarn, and do 10 half double crochets. No increase here, just 10 half double crochets, and tuck that yarn as you go, so you can just cut the extra at the end. After you do this row of 10 half double crochets, you will chain 1 turn, and then every row following will be back to the increase in the first and last stitch. So you're going to chain 1 turn, and then you're going to go right back into our increase loop stitch in the first stitch and increase loop stitch in the last stitch, and you're going to keep doing that for all the rows until you achieve the size that you want for your bottom. I did 24 rows for size small, and for medium 26, and yeah, so I will meet you back when I do my 24 rows, and we'll see if I want to do more or not when we get there. I did 24 rows. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24. And we ended on half double crochets. Make sure you end on half double crochets and not loop stitches. So then we're gonna pop your hook back in, and just like we did for the top portion of the bikini, we're going to do the same to the bottom back butt part. So we're going to chain 4 to extend the size of our bikini, turn our work, and then into that third stitch. Let me help you see it. 1, 2, 3 right there. We're going to do a single crochet, 1 single crochet, and then 2 single crochet, and then you're going to go right back into doing the pattern, which is loop stitches. So go right back into doing your loop stitches all the way till you get to your last stitch. We're at our last few loop stitches till we get to that last one. And then in the last stitch, we're going to grab a separate ball of yarn, or it can be from the same one, and you're going to attach it to that last stitch at the end of this row, just like we did for the top of the bikini. We're gonna pop our hook in and attach our separate piece of yarn with a single crochet. Once we do that, we're going to tighten it down. Chain 4. We're going to cut our yarn, pull the string through, tighten down those last 2 chains you made, because we only need that for the knot. Pop our hook back in to finish our last loop stitch that we needed to do. And then we're going to end with 2 single crochets in those last 2 chains we made. Here's our last single crochet. And just like the top, you're going to do it one more time for a size small. If you need a size medium, you'll do it 3 times. And if you need more coverage, you'll just do as many rows as you need. We did our 4 chains and flipped the work. And now we're going to go into that 3rd chain with a single crochet. And then our 2nd single crochet. And now right back into doing half double crochets all the way till we get to our last stitch. Just pop that stitch marker in, because sometimes those last single crochet stitches, they sometimes get lost in the sauce and I can't see them. So pop that stitch marker in. We're at our last stitch. We're going to add another piece of yarn to the end. With a single crochet. Tighten it down and chain 4. Cut the yarn. Pull through. Tighten down. And we're going to pop our hook back in so we can do our last half double crochet. This is our last half double crochet. And then we will do our 2 single crochets in the last 2 chains that we added. 1, 2. If you're done with your extensions, then this will be your last row. Do not cut the yarn, because now we're going to work on the waistband part. This is what it looks like once you complete the amount of extension rows that you'd like. I'm going to weave in those ends again. And we're almost done. Now the next part will be to connect the front part of the bikini to the back part of the bikini. and we'll add our elastic band and we'll be done. So let's start that now. I weaved in all of my ends, and now we're ready to start on the band of the bikini. We're gonna pop our hook back in and remove our stitch marker. Now, for a size small, I would chain 14, and for medium, I did like in between a small and medium, so I chained 16. But if you want a true size small, just chain 14. I'm gonna chain 16. Once I made 16 chains, we're going to attach it to the front part of the bikini, and make sure to attach it to the inside of the bikini and not the outside with the loop stitches, so that we can continue going with loop stitches. So go ahead and insert your hook and slip stitch, and then we're going to go right ahead into loop stitches all the way across. Once we do that, I will meet you at the other end to connect the other side. Don't forget your stitch marker. We're down to our last loop stitch. We're going to complete that now. And just like with the first side, after this loop stitch, we're going to do 16 chains to connect to the back again. Chain 16. Once we have our 16 chains, we're going to connect it to the back. We're going to do this with a slip stitch again and in the inside as well. Make sure you're connecting in the inside of the bikini, because after you connect this one, we're going to turn our work and go back the opposite way with half double crochets. Chain 1, and we're going to go back to the left. So it's like a chain 1 turn. I went ahead and did the half double crochets on the hip part of the bikini, and now we are back to the front part of the bikini, and we're going to just continue doing the half double crochets all the way across till we reach the other side of the hip. I reached the other side of the hip. Now we're going to continue with the half double crochets along this side of the hip. Both sides are done, and now we have reached the back of the bikini again. Now we're going to half double crochet along the entire back side till we reach our stitch marker again. Made it to the stitch marker. We're just going to complete these few last stitches. And then we're going to slip stitch into the stitch with our stitch marker, our first stitch. Slip stitch into our first stitch. You can remove the stitch marker. And now we're going to go back the opposite way, working in rounds, and we're going to chain one, turn our work. And immediately go into loop stitches all the way around the whole bikini until you reach back to your stitch marker again. So we're going right away into doing loop stitches, and we're going to do this all the way around the bikini, around the hip part, all the way until you reach the purple stitch marker or whatever stitch marker you're using. If you can remember, that's great too. Just remember to come right back to the stitch. We've made it back to the stitch marker. I'm going to close the round with a slip stitch. Then we're going to chain one, turn our work, and go back the other way. Chain one, turn. And now we're just going to do half double crochets all the way around the entire bottom until we get back to our stitch marker. We made it back to our stitch marker. Now we're going to close this round with a slip stitch and chain 1 turn, and we'll be doing our last round of loop stitches. Chain 1, turn our work, and this will be our final row of loop stitches all the way around till we reach back to the stitch marker. We have reached our stitch marker again. We're going to close this round with a slip stitch. Slip stitch. And now we're going to chain 1, turn our work, and this is our absolute final round of just half double crochet. We've reached back to our stitch marker. We're going to close this round with a slip stitch. Now we're going to just remove our hook, pop a stitch marker in so that it doesn't come out. And now we're going to get started on inserting our waistband, the elastic, so that when you get it wet in the water, your bottoms don't slip off. So let's do that now. For the elastic band, you're just gonna I grabbed the thin one. You can grab the thick band if you prefer that. I don't think it makes a huge difference, but I grabbed the skinny one. And you're going to measure where you want your bikini bottoms to sit on your hips. So for this customer, she wanted hers to sit at 40 inches on her hip. So 40 inches. And then once you get that number of the size of your hip, however many inches that is, you're going to subtract 10 inches from that. So in my case, it was 40, then minus 10 inches would be 30. So we're going to cut our elastic band to 30. I cut at 31 just so I can have at least an inch to tie my band. So cut at 10, minus 10 from where you want your elastic band to sit, and cut 1 inch more. So example, if your waist is 32, then you're going to subtract 10 from that, or 11. Just subtract 11 to be safe, so that when you're tying it like how you see here, you don't really take that much away, but it gives you just enough so you can tie it really tight. And then we're just going to insert it with single crochets into the waist part. See it? Nice and stretchy, nice and secure. Boom. So you're going to get your bikini bottoms. And I like to insert the tie part in the middle of the back bottom. It doesn't matter where you do it, it's just preference. And then right where we left off, you're going to pop your hook back in, and we're going to crochet over the elastic band with 2 single crochets. So in every stitch around, you're going to do 2 single crochets. One single crochet, and we're going to do another one in the same exact spot. So it's just like doing an increase in every stitch. 2 single crochets in every stitch all the way around. We've made it back to our stitch marker, and now we'll just close this around with a slip stitch, and this is it. We will tie our yarn off, cut it, weave in all of our ends, and that completes the bottom tutorial of the bikini bottoms. And this was the hardest part, doing the bottoms. This was the most work. So just know, if you did the bottoms first, kudos to you. The hard part is done. Now the top of the bikini tops, will be way easier. This is what the bottoms look like once you weave everything in. Very neat, very clean. I told you, once you get the hang of doing the actual loop stitch, it's going to be a breeze, and you're probably going to become addicted and want to do so many other things. So thank you for watching. I hope you guys try it out. And until the next tutorial, bye.